好，又到咗星期四下晝4點半啦，呢個移民幫到你嘅時間啦，我係帶你去歐斯環球嘅 Jenny 湯嚇，今日好開心咧，有個美女嘅嘉賓啊，佢係一個喺意大利好著名、好出名嘅 designer， 咁咧就係叫做呢個Valeria Pola 嘅，咁我一陣間咧就交翻個時間俾佢介紹一下自己先。So Valeria, would you please introduce yourself? We're so happy to have you here today. I know you're a very famous designer, and most of our audience are very good in English, but I still have to translate a little bit.
Sure,
So please introduce yourself.
Well, thank you, Jenny, first of all, for having me today. I'm super happy to be here. So my name is Valeria Pola, very good Italian.
Oh, thank you. I want to say
Faster.
Benvenuto.
Benvenuti.
Yeah, I'm close enough. All right, so welcome.
So my name is Valeria Pola. I'm an Italian designer, even though I've been working and living in Hong Kong for the past 12 years. So
You're almost local.
Yeah, Jenny usually she describes me as a local designer, which I really like as a description. And I'm an interior designer. I have my studio here in Hong Kong, which is called Pola Zanoni. And I also teach at some design university, like the Hong Kong Design Institute. And I have a design program with the Italian Chamber of Commerce, which we can talk about later. So that's it.
OK， 咁佢同我哋講啦，意大利佢係即係一個出名嘅設計師啦。喺香港佢喺呢一個設計學院有教書啦，咁同埋咧都有幫呢一個意大利商會咧又教一啲關於設計嘅課程㗎嚇。And you know, people love Italy. I mean, mostly Italian food here. So, and of course Italians. And we would like, I mean, we have so many questions for you today because in the title I actually said that you have some magic, you know, about like, you know, bringing the East and the West, you know, the feng shui, you know, with a different twist, and how do you make a small apartment like bigger, you know. And a lot of us are, you know, moving to the West or planning to move at some point. So we would also like to know like your style in the West, if they buy a house there or if they want to decorate a house there, how do they like, you know, have like good feng shui, good fortune?
Well, designer usually we don't do magic, but most of the clients they have the same issue, like how can you make my house feel bigger, especially in Hong Kong where we are more like in a compact living. So there are a few general tricks and suggestions that I can give to our public. You know, like well, my first suggestion is always to try to keep as much light color as possible in the house because they really help you to feel, you know, light and fresh and breezy, and then to make the space feel bigger.
Nice.
And to try to declutter as much as possible. So just try to get rid of
that
old
stuff.
and I think it's also part of the feng shui. Like usually what it's if I'm correct,
yes.
Usually before Chinese New Year, you're supposed to clean up the house, throwing out old things and this kind of things, which I think it's something that is good. And I know that Hong Kong follow this regulation quite strongly,
yes.
But it should be done maybe a bit more often in order to free up the space and to keep things that you know are practical, so you are using every day, or things that they give you joy, like you know, like memories or like picture portrait from your family for your trips. And I will give the same suggestion to whoever you know it's living in Hong Kong and is moving in the West. Doesn't matter if you are, I don't know, a European coming back or you know from Hong Kong or China moving to the West. I would suggest you to stick to like to be very to stick to your origin, I would say.
Yeah.
So I don't like people when they change country and they want to completely change the style and everything.
Oh, okay.
Because it's not like, so I think you need to adapt a little bit of the Western style, but still try to bring maybe like a few piece of furniture that you are really keen, I don't know, like your grandma gave it to you or
Sentimental value.
Very sentimental value. You
Okay.
can also, you know, like repaint it or something like that in order to match the style. But I have a few pieces that I try to bring every time I move. Because it gets part of the family. So
yeah, that's interesting.
but don't get stressed out of the Western style, the Asian style. So we are not so strict.
Okay, so apparently I couldn't be moving my piano every time. It would be difficult, but I know what you mean. So I just
If you really care of your piano, you should.
Oh wow, okay, maybe I can stick to a smaller portable keyboard instead then. So 咁佢 就話咧，其實無論你喺西方搬翻嚟香港，或者準備搬去西方都好啦嚇。咁啊，其實冇乜一個話系列咧，一定淨係中式或者淨係西式嘅。咁啊，覺得最重要咧就係間屋要整潔啦。其實風水啦都係講緊個氣啊嘛，即係個 chi。咁咧就係嗰個氣咧點樣喺你屋企入邊流通咧，就你有個位俾佢至得㗎。咁啊，香港好多時可能間屋細啦，你執到佢爆晒嘅，真係財神都入唔到嚟啦，係咪？就好簡單嘅啫。同埋有啲你覺得好有價值嘅，即係可能細個同你嗰個爺爺啊嫲嫲影嘅相啊，或者頭先我講，譬如我細個彈嘅鋼琴啊，每一次搬屋係咪能夠搬到去咧咁樣樣？咁啊有啲咁樣嘅嘢就令你開心啲啦咁。Well, this is a really straightforward way to keep yourself happy because you're looking at what makes you happy. But I'm sure there are like a lot more truth than that. So, Hong Kong is so compact. And then, like, I understand if you come from Italy, your house would be probably like, maybe your bathroom is bigger than, the living room in a lot of people's apartment in Hong Kong in a way. So like, how would you suggest them? Like you blend some Italian style, maybe because you said about light colors on the wall, and I see like in Portugal, for example, they have all these like tiles, like the Portuguese tiles, and even for colors, like when I go to London, so many of them have like red and like more like stronger colors. Mm-hmm. Is it because you have so much space? That's why.
Well, in Italy, I would say that it's very different from Hong Kong because Hong Kong is a big city, and then in Italy, most of the place where people live are villages. So it's really smaller towns. So you have more area, and then you have more area basically in your apartment. So usually your apartments are bigger. Usually, I mean, it really depends. If you go in city like Milan and Rome, I think that more or less it's the same as this one as a footprint. Okay. But the colors we do tend to keep those color mostly outdoors. Like for example, the one that you mentioned for Portugal, and I was so lucky to have been living in Portugal as well.
Oh, really? In Lisbon, where?
Yes, Lisbon. Yes.
Nice. Yeah, I was just visiting, but it was great.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah.
Good food, good people, really love it.
And very good price.
Yes. And they have all of these amazing tile, the azulejos, but usually they are on the facade. I think for aesthetic reason, but also for maintenance reason. Even in Hong Kong, most of the buildings from the 80s and 90s that they have the smaller tiles, which it's very Hong Kong famous. They told me, and then again, you're the local one, so you should be correct,
Right.
that it's done like that, so when it rains, that the building get washed down. So they
That's
don't
true,
have
because it's like that.
They don't have repaint them, they don't have to do maintenance. So see, even Hong Kong, if I think about Hong Kong compared to Italy, I think it's way more colorful here than there, the facade of the buildings.
Maybe in Wan Chai there's a particular area at the back.
But even residential area here, I think they really, because most of the time here you have very big complex, and then they color one building different to another, or maybe different floors, or like the Choi Hang Estates. Am I pronouncing it correct?
Choi Hong Chun.
Yes, that one. Yeah. Like the rainbow buildings. So we don't have such things and also in Italy we have very strict regulation on color of the house. So if your house is in the city center and it's yellow, it always have been yellow, you cannot change the color. It has to be that yellow. So we cannot be that creative. I think here in Hong Kong you can be more creative with the building facade.
Interesting. Let me just translate a bit. 咁佢就話其實咧，我頭先提到咧，就話我自己去歐洲玩嘅時候咧，喺意大利啊，喺葡國咧，其實我見到佢哋咧好多時啲顏色就好即係好 colourful 嘅，咩色都有嘅，尤其是啲深色嘅嘢，紅色啊，或者葡國好多係嗰隻藍白色嘅 tiles 嗰啲地磚啊或者瓷磚咁樣樣啦。咁佢提出一點咧就係話其實香港都有好多嘅，但係可能喺外牆就未必喺室內啦。咁啊其實香港啊仲加靈活啦，因為我哋中意油咩色都得㗎。咁佢哋喺意大利咧就係有啲區，其實你喺市中心你係某啲色嘅咧，其實指定咗嘅或者用開嘅咧就唔可以隨意改嘅。咁啊都幾即係可能嗰個系統啊各方面咧就會整齊啲咯。但係香港佢就話你中意油咩色都得嘅，咁都幾有趣嘅。That's interesting. We didn't know that. And you have been here for such a long time. Then do you have any like favorite aspect of our architecture? Because I think we have international famous designers, like in the convention center, and then like I asked you that before in another channel, and I asked you if you have any favorite building, and you said there's so many. It would be really hard to say. But I just want to know, like maybe you can name a few, like maybe the Peak, the gallery, or something so we can like understand
Well,
from a Western point of view?
the big gallery, I really like it, but I always wonder why it has that shape. And then I look at the old peak tower, which was basically more or less this kind of weird like half moon shape. So I think when they redid it, they did like a tribute to the previous one. So I still prefer the previous one, I think. But then there are so many very architectural and very peculiar building here, like the Bank of China, for example. So whenever you see the picture of the Bank of China, you know that you're looking at Hong Kong, or even
and the feng shui thing, the sharp edge.
Yeah, and there are so many peculiar stories about the Bank of China, the HSBC building.
Right.
There's like
I
think we can stay here 2 hours talking about like all of this kind of magic or whatever.
Right.
Or another one that I really like is the Lipo Center, the one with the two big.
I heard it's very bad feng shui there.
Is it?
Yeah, like a lot of companies lose a lot of money. Like, although I mean I don't really believe so much in it, but I was told.
But it's very different from everything else, because you have these two like koala climbing on the two towers. It looks like koala climbing, or maybe are monkeys or something like that. So I really like when building they are so different that as soon as you look at it, you are like, that's Hong Kong.
Iconic.
Very iconic. Nowadays, I think most of the buildings are very, you can look at, can be Hong Kong or Singapore or London or something like that. So, but the most iconic here is when you look at those like, I don't know, like those big complex, like residential complex, for example. I can think about when you come out from the airport and then you see like Tung Chung area, like those huge buildings that they are not feature building, I would say. Nobody goes there and visit them. But if you see a picture on the internet of those buildings, you are like, that's Hong Kong. It can't be anywhere else. The density, the architecture of density.
Like you like the landmarks, right?
I don't know if I like them or not, but it's just very specific to this city. So after 12 years, when I see this picture, I'm kind of like, that's home. It looks nice. Even though it's not that cute, I would say.
Right. Oh, I know what you mean. It's like when you see the Golden Gate Bridge, then you know this is San Francisco. Yeah. Or you see like the Pisa or whatever tower in Italy, then you know it's Italy.
The Pisa, the Leaning Tower. Yeah. So.
Interesting. Well, let me translate a bit. 咁佢就頭先就問佢啦，喺香港咁耐最喜歡香港啲咩建築物啦。咁其實就之前我都問過佢係另一個台咁啊，但係就實在太多。咁佢就講咧一啲好 iconic 嘅嘢啦，即係好似譬如山頂啊，或者力寶中心啊、中銀啊、匯豐總行嗰啲咁樣啦，同埋好多背後有趣嘅風水嘅故事咧。咁佢係即係都覺得係，即係一見到咧就諗起香港，所以就係好喜歡呢一樣嘢啦咁樣樣。And we have some people saying hi to us. So Ken Tam, Wu Lai, Mr. W, Tai Mao B, Mr. Wong, Rebecca, KK Chen, and thank you so much. If you have questions, about Italy or about Italy architecture, design, or Western way of feng shui, please send us a message here. We will try to answer as much as possible. 咁就係如果你有問題啊，關於啲意大利嘅嘢啊，或者西方嘅設計啊、建築物啊，或者啲西式嘅風水咧，咁啊留言俾我哋可以嚇。Okay, so this is we also know that you have been teaching in Hong Kong the Design Institute and the Chamber of Commerce, the Italian Chamber of Commerce. So can you tell us a little bit about like what is your your the joy or the the fun of teaching here or educating us here?
Well, I'm trained as a designer, so I'm not really trained as a teacher. And it just happened a few years ago that they asked me to teach a few design class, and I actually really enjoy it, because for me design is all about sharing. It's sharing information, sharing. In design, you always work in teams, so you really need to be able to kind of collaborate with other person, and I share my ideas, you share your ideas, and then we put something together in order to design something better, something beautiful. And teaching is a little bit like that. Like I share with my knowledge in order to help students to just get their own path in design, in interior design. And I realized that I thought when I was a student,
Right.
I thought that teaching was just one way. So it was the teacher like giving you like
Information.
knowledge and information, and you
Right.
kind of like absorbing everything. But recently I realized that you get so much back from the students in
Okay.
terms of questions. So sometimes they really have this question, and you're kind of like not doubting yourself, but like, oh, I really never thought about that. Like, oh, this is a different point of view.
Right.
This is interesting.
New ideas.
So they made me think so much, or maybe from a question then link to another question. So you arrive to something, a different result that you couldn't be able to do it by yourself. Or they also push you because sometimes you can't know everything. So sometimes I also need to be able to say, okay, look, I cannot reply to these questions because
Right.
I don't know. Let me research a little bit. Let me
Okay.
go back, and then next time we can discuss about that. So they really push you to be, to be prepared, to be 100%. So that's
Okay.
it's very interesting. And the two different schools where I teach, the Hong Kong Design Institute, it's basically an institute. So you have students that they are between 18, 20, 21 years old, so quite
Okay.
young.
Young.
So they are very passionate about design and everything. So they really, I really miss that. I don't want to say I really miss that passion. I have passion in it. I still have passion in design, but when you are
Yes.
a student, you are very green.
Yes.
So you see everything in a different way.
Nice.
And I try somehow to really keep their dream alive, but also to make sure that they realize that whenever you go out from the school, then out there the real world is not as dreamy as the school, let's say. So kind of like positive and negative, not positive and negative, but reality and dream and reality, let's say.
Oh, so you balance it.
A little bit of that to be. I don't want to cut their creativity, but they also need to be prepared to the world out there, the economy, the market, and everything. So they really need to be very practical, and very almost in a positive way, but aggressive in what they do.
Okay.
And then together with the Italian Chamber of Commerce, that this year we started this design program. So these are short design classes for people with no design background needed, basically. It's like usually on the weekend, so people are a little bit more relaxed. And I get to know students from I think the younger one was 25 and the oldest one was 65 or something.
Oh wow,
like
that's
that.
a huge
So
range.
it's really interesting because you have people from different ages, generation, at your same class. So you need to use different language, different example, different metaphor in order to make everybody understand. And then we always finish with a practical exercise, and I like to group them up to see how they react, how they work together. So it's giving me back so many feedbacks because
I'm glad you enjoyed it.
I'm very interested to see who are these people showing up, because at university they are students, they sign up, it's for their career, but then here it's people maybe that they are thinking about starting a career in design, maybe people that they have very job that they are less creative maybe, but that they are still very creative inside, so they want to express their creativity. People that they have their own property and they want to do something with it.
Okay.
I get a lot, and I managed to get some few little gifts, let's say, from all of them.
Right.
So
I need to translate a little bit.
Yes.
Yeah. 咁佢就講咧，其實教呢個香港嘅設計學院啦，同埋教呢一個商會咧就好唔同嘅。咁啊，首先設計學院嗰啲咧就係嚟讀書噶嘛，咁啊梗係後生啲啊，18至22咁啦。咁佢話香港年青人咧其實都好有想像力，好有創意啦。咁不過佢都要即係平衡翻，因為始終佢自己喺個設計個嘅行業咁耐啦。咁啊，叫啲學生創作嘅時候咧都要留意下，第日即係真係喺個社會做嘢嘅時候咧嘅即係點樣可以係好實踐到出嚟嘅啲嘢嚇。咁啊，另外就喺嗰個商會嗰度咧，咁佢就話25至65歲嘅人都有啊。咁啊，基本上咧就好即係叫好玩啦，因為唔同嘅人咧，可能你有即係唔同嘅需要啦，亦都好多可能都係想係可能買咗屋咁啊，想學下點樣設計好啲啊，或者平時冇得一個去俾佢發揮佢創意嘅嘢，所以就想話星期六日嚟上堂嘅時候咧，就去發揮一下佢嘅創意啦嚇。咁啊so this is seems like a very good experience for you in design and I mean teaching design in Hong Kong, and so we have such a limited space in Hong Kong. Everywhere is so small. That would you share with us some like really smart, creative tricks where we can kind of like maximize our space, like mural or something?
Well, again, light colors, that is something that it will help that much to kind of brighten up the space, and just try to be very practical on where, like which type of furniture are you getting. Like, be realistic of the size of your room, so you're sure that you are not cluttering too much. And I think that, we don't need to be interior designer to understand which type of furniture we need in the home. I always suggest my students also, like, okay, you don't know the size of a dining table for 3 person or for 4 person. Use the taping mask.
Okay.
So you tape in mask the size of the table on the floor, you put the shape of on the chair, you make sure that you have enough space. So you kind of test all of these. I mean, I know
that's
that it's
a very
not
good
really,
idea. I never thought of it.
It's flat, but at least, because for me in interior design, and it doesn't matter for practicality, but also for aesthetic reason, it's so much important the fullness, so the solid object, and the empty space behind. Okay. So if you have amazing furniture pieces, but you cramp all of them together,
there's no space.
There's no space, and you don't appreciate them because you don't see, and then every time you move the chair, you bump into others. So it's like art. If you have an amazing art piece, then you need to have like white empty space around. Right. And in Hong Kong, we are so lucky to just, it's an empty corner. What are we going to do? I think here we get obsessed with like filling up things. the richness of having an empty corner in your room, it's just empty space. So
that's a good point.
And my last suggestion is also try to have some living things in your house, like greenery.
Okay, plants.
Even small plants, because they really give the feeling of something that you are taking care of. So you are really cherishing the place, and the plants is giving you back a lot of things. There is a list of plants that everybody can find on the internet that is listed by the NASA, so the American Special
NASA.
Yes.
Like to the moon, NASA?
Yes.
Okay.
So they list down a list of plants, home plants, very easy to take care of, that they are scientifically proven that they improve your oxygen level in the house. So they clean from smog and pollution and molds. So it's, I mean, in Hong Kong we all have air purifier in the house.
Yeah,
adding a few greenery.
Dehumidifier or something.
And we have a lot of tech tools.
Right, yeah.
But adding a few plants here and there, I think it's something that it doesn't make the space bigger. Of course, if you have a small apartment, go small plants, but they really feel that the space is taken care of. So it's really giving you good vibes.
Right, let me translate a little.
Even for feng shui.
Yeah, absolutely. I was about to say. 咁佢就提到啦，香港係好細啦，咁again，咁我哋咧就點樣盡量利用個空間變大啲咧？咁佢就話第一就係淺色啦，咁主要就係。即係你間屋室內咧就淺色啦，咁啊同埋咧就你去做室內設計之前咧，佢就俾咗個好好嘅提議咧，我就未諗過嘅。咁佢就話你可以用嗰啲 tape 啦，即係嗰啲膠紙啦，譬如你諗住買嗰張台4個人嘅幾大嘅，咁可能你喺網上面睇到啦，然之後你喺個地下度咧就用嗰啲膠紙貼晒先，擺喺邊個位置啦，咁啊跟住張台附近，譬如有梳化幾大咧，咁啊咩位置你用嗰啲膠紙貼好晒啦，咁你自己望一望係咪好舒服咧？咁同埋最重要咧，佢就係話個 space 啦，因為咧，譬如你有個empty space， 即係一個吉咗個位咧，你就飲得佢吉咗喺度啦，就好似畫畫咁咧，你唔好執到佢爆晒滿晒咧，其實到時你行下都會撞到嘢，咁啊梗係唔好風水啦，係咪先？成日都撞到嘢嘅話，咁啊其實即係嗰個雖然話 common sense， 但係好多時咧，我哋就盡量執滿每一寸嘅，香港人都係嚇。咁啊另一樣嘢咧，佢就講係 plants 啊，即係嗰啲植物啦。咁喺一個 NASA.com 咧 NASA.com 嗰度咧，其實你可以睇下咧，咁啊有一啲研究咧就係話有啲植物咧會令到你真係可能俾你多啲咁樣嘅，即係令到你即係其實佢講風水啦，咁但係真係可能即係嗰個氣場啊、你嘅呼吸啊各方面咧都有幫助嘅。So actually, talk about plants. I think there are for Chinese there are so many different plants that say like give you like money luck. Some is like romance. Some is like even for babies. So there are different plants for different fortune. Do you have that in Italy or in the West?
No, unfortunately, we don't have that. It's more for us. Plants is more like you pick the plants because I don't know you like it or something like that, or maybe because I don't know you take more. It's an indoor plant, outdoor, more light, less light. But we are not so. I think I know here we have all of these
Different
plants,
types.
different type of plants. I really like the money plant.
Yeah, the money plants. Yeah.
Here is very famous.
Yes, and it's very, especially like for us, you know, when it's all about finance, about trading here.
It's a very
You can see we
cheap,
have plants here in the studio.
Yes.
Because it is like, you know, attracting money.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially when you are like always like here, they're trading like, you know, round the clock, right? So that's why, especially for traders, they all have like their own plants.
But it's nice because again, even if you're doing a very busy job, that once or twice per day you need to go and twice per day, maybe too much. Once, twice per week,
Yeah.
you need to go and check. So even if you do a very important job, then you need to drop something and then go check on the plants once in a while.
True.
It's nice. It's, you know, you give
Taking a break.
care and then they give you back
That's
health
good.
or
That's-
money or whatever you're asking for.
That's good. So 咁佢頭先講啦，就係佢西方人咧，佢哋就好少話特登有啲咩植物咧係旺財啊、旺丁啊、旺咩咁樣啦。佢哋主要都係睇翻係咪自己喜歡嘅植物啦。咁但係佢提出一點好好嘅咧，就係話，即係譬如我哋策略王電視梗係會見到一入嚟啲風水嘢啦，因為成日都由朝 trade 到晚噶嘛，係咪啊？同埋要幫啲觀眾賺錢啊嚇。咁啊，所以咧就一定有好多呢啲咁樣嘅greeneries 啊所謂嚇。但係佢話咧有一樣嘢特別好，我都以前冇諗過就係話，因為你湊啲植物咧就好似湊小朋友咁啊，你會咧係需要特登抽啲時間去睇一睇佢哋，咁佢哋又會俾翻一啲好嘅能量你啊，或者幫你叫做好風水啊咁樣樣。其實你又可以 take a break 啊，由朝 trade 到晚你都辛苦啦，咁啊去望下啲花淋下水，順便就唞下氣，好似就食支煙咁可能啊，咁都係一件好事嚟㗎嚇。So we got a friend saying Hasta lao saying buono giorno Valeria.
Oh yeah, buongiorno, buon pomeriggio. Buongiorno is good morning.
Good morning. Okay.
Buon pomeriggio is good afternoon.
Oh, all right. Excuse my Italian.
It's okay. But the spelling is perfect.
Oh, that's great. That's great. So, you know, that's a very interesting angle that you mentioned about, you know, giving back from the plants and stuff. So, you know, because we talk about that, you know, modern design and, you know, creating harmony. And one thing that can surely help us create harmony is good food in the house. And I know Italians are very good at cooking, and I mean, like, Italian cuisine is famous in the world. And we have such small kitchens in Hong Kong.
Yeah,
So, any suggestions how we can maybe like stay home and eat more, eat better, or like as a designer, when you deal with clients like that, we have small house, but we want to eat healthier, eat, you know, comfortably at home. Like, what would you do?
Well, my question to my client is always who is cooking in your house? You know, most of the people maybe they have helpers that they cook for them. So in that case, they prefer a Chinese kitchen, so a close off, you know, like deep frying and these kind of things.
Oh.
But then I think you feel a bit separate. Like it almost feels that the food is coming from somewhere else. Like, you know, the grocery gets in and then the food gets out, and you don't ask so many questions. But if you have more here, they call it like the Western kitchen style. So it's in the open kitchen.
Okay.
Is more. I think you are more involved on, you know, what is cooking, and I think also yourself you are being more open to use the kitchen because you know it's a space where you feel confident in being. So in my opinion, if you want to learn to cook, you should have an open kitchen because it's really inviting you to, and also, you know, if you're having friends or something like that, or, you know, even entertaining your family, if you're cramped in the kitchen, you cannot sit, so it's not that funny. If you have an open kitchen, then you can also have a conversation with, you know, your friends and family, but still cooking and these things. So, but it's not an easy thing, especially if you're renting in Hong Kong. It's not an easy thing to do, to change between the closed type and the open type, because you need to remove walls.
I see.
Usually landlord, they are not very
happy about
that. But maybe, you know, if you're considering to moving into a new place or buying, then you might consider this one at the beginning. Like for me, the kitchen is like a very important part of the
a lot of Chinese people also love it. But then when you said open kitchen, what they are concerned about is when they, you know, used to walk and a lot of, like, you know,
because in Italy we don't do a lot of deep frying things, let's say. So usually we are not that concerned about the smell. Then Hong Kong, deep frying and wok, then is it's very smelly. So you need to have a proper kitchen hood.
The
like
ventilation.
the ventilation.
Okay.
So you're sure that you don't like smell like oh, did you have
Like
fried
smell,
fish yesterday?
yeah, I don't smell like
Yes.
fish
Or maybe a
chicken.
couple of doors before going into your room, because then maybe the airflow, then everything goes in your wardrobe or something like that.
Oh,
So
yes, well, right.
you always need to smell around when you go
Right.
from your apartment.
Okay, I need to translate a little bit.
Yes.
咁佢就講啦，其實如果即係因為你話想即係風水好，其中一樣嘢梗係要家庭和睦啦、和洽啦、開心啦，咁啊梗係離唔開食物啦。咁啊意大利人就出名啊，意大利菜係人都知出名啊，全球都愛戴啦。咁我就即係講啦，香港咁細，咁你有咩idea 點樣令到個廚房嚇，即係大家可以煮出啲好嘢出嚟咧？咁佢講就幾有趣嘅，即係我覺得因為即係始終係可能外國人嗰個睇法啦。咁佢就話：喂，你嗰個真係喺度煮嘢嗰個人唔係個屋企人嚟㗎嘛，其實主要都係工人啦。咁啊工人咧你就覺得佢去咗買餸，買完餸咧就喺廚房煮完擺到，你就坐喺度食咁解嘅啫。咁佢但係如果你真係想話即係可能係自己又會有時間落廚啊，整下又有啲樂趣嘅話咧，其實 open kitchen 就好啲啦。咁啊因為有朋友嚟到咧，你又可以同佢哋傾下偈啦。咁啊即係一路煮嘢一路傾啦。咁但係咧就要留意你個 ventilation 啊，因為你個廚房咧即係抽油煙嗰度好重要啊。如果唔係咧啲煙去晒你其他睡房啊，咁啊梗係唔係幾好啦，係咪先？That is a very good advice, and that's why we know that for residential building in Hong Kong, a lot of them don't have open kitchen because of the people always deep fry. That's a problem here. And we also want to look at something like a social interaction, which is a big thing for Hong Kong right now. So like the government housing, they actually have designers especially to make it more like like in buildings where like the newer ones, they have gyms, they have social rooms, like function room, they call it multi-purpose room, like piano room, and even like barbecue or stuff like that. So if you live in a small space, how do you encourage something in your design where you can maybe interact with your neighbors more, or like people can hang out in the podium or something?
Well, it really comes down to the design of the building, because if you have a lot of facilities in your building, then it's basically an excuse for you to get out from your apartment and be kind of forced to, okay, do you want to go to the gym? You go to the gym floor and then you meet other people, other neighbors, then they might share your same passion or your same schedule or these kind of things, or to the swimming pool, the piano room, and this. So in Hong Kong it's quite common to have this shared facility, which is something that, for example, in Italy, I don't want to say it doesn't exist, but usually, so you either have your own private house or you live in buildings, in condo, but then usually there's not so many shared space. Maybe there is like a garden or something like that, but then here is more like swimming pool and the sauna and then the multifunctional room. So I think is because here, as we were saying before, there is less space. So if you have this public facility, then you can save space. If you don't have a private gym, then if it's outside, then of course you have more space for your apartment. And I think also for marketing reasons. I think in Hong Kong, if this building, the rent is a bit higher, but then you have a better facility. You can rent out the barbecue, you can rent out the some area, you have the swimming pool. So it's a big plus for different people. So, and then it depends, maybe, I don't know, you have family with kids, so you're looking for like a building that has like a playground, indoor playground, or the swimming pool. You love to swim, so you're looking for a building that has swimming pool. So I think in Hong Kong is kind of like a push between make people socialize, like kind of try to create basically a community, let's say, which I think is quite nice.
Which is a big thing now.
Some buildings, like our building, they organize this kind of like a festival, like the Moon Festival.
Right.
And they basically invite all the people to just
have mooncakes.
Have mooncakes, stay together, which I think it's really nice because and it's for free. So usually people at the beginning are always kind of like, is this like a paid service? Like, do we need to bring something?
Yeah.
But it's nice to create again like an idea of the community. So whenever at the end of the day you're living on top of a lot of other people and family. So I think it's nice if you get to know each other because in case you need something or even to have a chat in the lift or something like that. So it's a good but I think most of them they are doing it for because then they can have a
They
higher
can sell
rent.
it, yeah.
Yeah.
At a better price. So 咁佢就講其實喺香港咧，我哋就好彩啦，因為好多時咧新嘅 building 咧入邊都有好多 facilities 啊，咁啊譬如係 gym 啊、游泳池啊、鋼琴房啊諸如此類啦。咁其實佢喺意大利反而咧，佢哋一係就自己獨立屋，一係咧嗰啲 apartment 咧就唔係好似香港咁大 block 咁啊，你太古城咁大咁，梗係真係容易係中間有好多，即係你其實啲錢都係我哋即係當然係個住客或者嗰個業主度攞出嚟㗎啦，就係有啲錢去建呢啲咁樣嘅大家一齊共用嘅嘢。咁但係亦都有個好處啦，就係就有一個 community 啦，有個社區性喺度，即係大家成日去譬如打網球嘅或者游水嘅或者去 gym 嘅啦，咁啊大家會即係識到啲隔離鄰舍咁樣啦，咁佢都係覺得即係對整體成個社會啦都係一個好和諧嘅一個設計嚟嘅。So we only have like 5 minutes left. So I would like to know like because you know you come from a different culture, but you also have been Hong Kong for like 12 years. And so if there's something like from a professional designer point of view, and also because you understand both cultures very well, then what would be some Italian elements that you think can integrate to Hong Kong to make our lives better, our lives overall, not just for making money, but overall?
Well, maybe
like an Italian attitude.
I think to be a bit more quiet and not like Hong Kong, we know is a very fast-paced city. You know, we are always like rushing around and having a lot of things to do. And then when you book friends for whatever events or a dinner, you need to book them 2 weeks in advance because everybody is like super busy doing a lot of things, which I think somehow is good because you are on this cycle.
Momentum.
On this momentum, and then you don't want to lose the momentum. But I think Italy is also famous, and you know, especially for like summertime and holiday, where you really kind of like relax and wind down and everything. And I always wish that my home, my place, when my home here in Hong Kong, whenever I go back from a long day of work or like a stressful meeting, that I go back, I open the door and then I enter like a
dog or something,
like a slow space, like a place that helps me to calm down and then leave everything outside the door.
That's a good point.
But the relaxing place, it's different from all of us. If I think about relax, if you think about relax, if the public think about relax, all of us we had something completely different.
That's true.
In
That's
our
true.
mind.
Yeah.
And especially if you're not living by yourself, if you're living with your with your friends, with your
spouse,
with your family or whatever. So everybody has a different idea of relax. So my suggestion, what to take from Italy, it's not something physical, let's say, as we were saying, color or shape, but the idea of almost like a holiday, when people, sometimes clients, they ask me, I would like my house to be like a resort.
Oh, wow.
And it's not about...
But you need space, right?
No, it's not about the feature. It's about the feeling, I think. The feeling of like that it doesn't matter if you are not on a tropical island, but you are in Hong Kong, which is kind of still a tropical island.
True.
But the idea that, you just have maybe also a nice corner with your favorite armchair, you go there, you have your drink, you have your book, so you can still feel chill and on holiday, even though maybe tomorrow is gonna be Monday morning and then a deadline, and then you just wanna run back to the office. So it's just a feeling.
Yes, that's worth millions of dollars. I love that advice. Let me translate a bit. 咁佢就頭先俾咗一個話，我覺得價值百萬千萬嘅 advice。點解咧？即係呢個專業意見咧，佢就話其實咧好多時佢啲客會同佢講話可能香港生活好忙碌啦，咁有時佢約啲朋友都係要早2-3個星期約定，因為個個都不停咁 back to back 嘅 meeting， 實好忙啊！香港人全球出名啊呢樣嘢。但係佢話你翻到屋企嘅時候，其實係咪可以即係 wind down 少少咧？即係 chill，即係可以咧就舒服啲啦 ，relax 啲咁樣啦佢就話係其實一個唔一定要係住豪宅嘅人，有好大嘅space 嘅人咧先可以做得到嘅。即係喺你個設計上，譬如有一個位咧係一個有一個即係好舒服嘅可能按摩椅啊，咁跟住隔離有個咖啡台，你都可以 放工翻屋企開咗對門喺度唞下，飲下即係飲杯嘢啊，或者你飲威士忌當然都冇問題啦咁樣樣。咁佢就話令到你個人咧即係就會成個人咧嗰個緊張咧你就會舒服好多啦咁。And I really like that because I think especially when like most of our followers here are like investors, traders like that. So they have very tense days because they're trading and like they are like talking here about this past few days when the market went crazy. So it's like if you have a private corner at home where you can wind down, actually you can reboot even better later.
like a bubble. And I don't think it's matter of style or colors or everybody they have to find their own way to create their own home. So and I think for us as interior designer when I deal with my clients I'm always trying to understand their nature, like okay, what do you like, what do you want, what do you need from your house. Then we can talk about a chair, a beautiful table, a beautiful light, but that always comes later.
Okay.
So we need to stick with the need, like what do you want to get out from this apartment. And most of the people are again calming, relaxing place. Nobody ever come to me and say, I want a very stressful place,
right, of course.
so I would be very surprised. Usually it's calming and make it bigger. That's the common.
Okay.
And everybody they have to find their own design or their own designer that they can trust and feel.
You are apparently very good one. Yeah, absolutely. So let me translate a little bit. 咁佢就話其實大部分啲客戶啊朋友咧揾佢咧都係即係講下想間屋咧就係即係 chill 啲啦，即係好似舒服啲啦，同埋個近長可以大啲啦咁啊佢就覺得即係你要揾啱人幫你設計啦，一係就你自己設計咁樣樣啦。So like considering you as such a like a famous professional designer, and then like if any of our followers here would like to contact you or find you or book you, so is there any way people can find you?
Well, they can have a look at my website, which is polazanoni.com. I know it's Italian, maybe it's very difficult to be spelled.
Yeah,
I don't know, maybe
easy.
we can just type it on the...
Or you can spell it out?
polazanoni.com.
Okay, it's not that hard.
It's not that hard.
It's not that hard.
Otherwise, they can reach you out.
Absolutely, I was about to say. I'm not gonna take a cut from her. Don't worry about that. Or they can actually go to the Hong Kong Institute, the Italian Chamber. They will find you.
Or the Italian Chamber of Commerce, where they can find a school which is called the Italian Design Lab.
Oh, Italian Design Lab. Yes, easier.
And for both, we also, of course, we have Instagram pages.
Oh, okay. So they can go to Instagram and they look for Hong Kong Design Lab.
Italian Design Lab.
Hong Kong Italian Design Lab.
No, just Italian.
Oh, just Italian Design Lab. Then they will be able to find you. That's pretty good. So 咁就係講咗啦。IG 入邊，如果你要揾佢啦，我哋喺翻 IG 啦，打翻頭先講過 Italian Design Lab。咁咧就大家識串啦呢個嚇，咁就會揾到我哋呢個 Valeria 呢個著名設計師噶啦。So actually, we have been talking a lot about everything, and before we wrap up, and we have to wrap up like now. Is there anything you would like to share with us, and so we can wrap up? Anything you want to add?
Well, just thank you for having me. I hope I gave some insights, ideas to some of you, and. Again, I was just very excited to be a guest of Jenny.
Oh, absolutely.
Very famous Jenny.
Oh, apparently I did not pay her enough to say more good things about me. I'm just joking. So 都係即係多謝大家咁樣樣啦嚇。So I want to say thank you. It is very, very how would you say interesting information that you have shared, and we're very happy to have you here. So we're looking forward to seeing you again. And so we got to wrap up and see you soon. Thank you. Bye bye. Ciao.